You could be wife material and still not be his choice. Not because you aren't enough, but because he's not looking for a wife. He's looking for fun, chill, go with the flow, just nothing serious. So let him do that with someone else, but not you.
My favorite incel weirdo comment is women only date for free food. It makes me laugh because I'm like, okay, let's say I go on 1 date a week and I go to dinner, which by the way, not every date I go on is a dinner date. But for the sake of argument, let's say I'm going on 1 dinner date a week. How am I feeding myself dinner the other 6 nights a week? Am I just not eating dinner until a man takes me out to eat? I just always laugh at the fact that they're like, you just want free dinner. Do you know how much time and energy and money I have to spend on hair and makeup and an outfit for a date? I am actively losing money by going to dinner with you, but I'm still going because I'm dating you to see if I'm interested. Not to mention, we're also putting our lives at risk because you don't know if that guy from Hinge is actually going to kill you. So no, we don't date for the free food. I can take myself to dinner and I do feed myself every single day. It's amazing. It's like a miracle.
Oh, hell no!
That's why they say a liar needs to have a good memory. This woman said in a video, if I'm not mistaken, that she went on 50 dates in 3 months. Brothers, that's a lot of dates. If we go by the numbers, that's more than 1 date per week, based on what I understand about math. Of course, she doesn't like being invited out for coffee, because her intention isn't to get to know someone. It's to find content and have fun. Otherwise, how the hell do you explain going on 50 dates? When a woman is genuinely interested in a man, the type of date doesn't matter. Getting to know each other should be the goal. But clearly, that's not your goal, since you've posted a bunch of videos giving dating advice without showing any real intention, because no man ever stays with you. So what are you really after?
Having a roster as a woman will change your dating life. And if you don't believe me, hear me out. If you have a roster, then you are now in the power position. If you only have one guy on the table and he starts treating you really badly, you're going to deal with that low tier behavior because there's no other options on the table. But if you have a roster of 5 men, which is what I recommend, then when one starts to kind of act weird or distant, then you can just go on to another man. And the other benefit is that you don't have to pretend to be busy all the time, because if you have 5 guys on the table, you naturally just don't have enough energy to sink into one of them. So if one of them doesn't text you back, for example, you're not even going to notice. You're literally going to be with another guy who is texting you back, who is planning the date, who is treating you like a queen. This is why winning dating, you guys, it's about being smarter, not working harder. And the other benefit of this is you don't get as attached to each man because you have 5 on the table. You're not seeing yourself marrying one of them. You're not imagining wedding bells before you even had your second date. And that's a good thing, you guys, because then you can sit back in a power position and allow men to show you who they are. And you know what? If he's a joker who's presented himself as a king, you just say goodbye to him. And then you move on with a guy who does know how to treat you right. The balance you want to achieve with men that makes them chase you like shark to blood is when they know you like them, but they don't know how much you like them. And when you have a roster, it's much easier to keep them in suspense. No longer do you have to play a game of trying not to text back too frequently or pretending you're not available on certain nights. Now you're actually not available on certain nights. Now you actually don't have a bunch of free time to be texting this guy every morning and night. The other thing with having a roster is you need to date a wide range of men. I know you all have a type. I know it's the 6'5" model with blue eyes that works in finance. I think those guys are really hot and sexy too, you guys. But maybe that guy isn't going to treat you like the queen you deserve to be. He might. I'm not saying he won't. But when you date a wide range of men, you're going to see maybe there's another kind of man that is a better fit for you. Not to call a bunch of people out here, but if you are continuing to date bad men, you might just be choosing the wrong men. And it's going to take dating a wider range of men to figure that out. And the last rule with this is no coffee or drink dates. I literally would sing this from the rooftop if I could, you guys. You only want to go on dates with men who offer dinner as a first date. These are men who are not serial daters. These are men who are actually going to be the masculine man for you that you deserve. They are provider energy. And I know a lot of you give me the feedback, you don't want to sink the amount of time into a dinner on a first date. That's okay. You can come back to the dinner request and say, oh, I prefer drinks. The important part is that he's offering dinner. Get a roster, you guys. As a woman, it will change your life. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to schedule a one-on-one with me via the link in my bio.
If there's a woman watching this content, what would you think of a man who gave the following advice? Date 5 women at once. If one doesn't reply, message another. If one is working, go see the other. If one won't take you out to dinner, another one will. According to this woman, that's actually good advice, and men should start doing the same. It's because of things like this that men are really starting to walk away from women. Just imagine the disappointment of going out with a woman, and by chance the date goes really well. You've had 2 or more dates, maybe something even happened, and then one day, you see her with one of her 4 other options. What do you think a man would feel or do in that situation? In my case, I moved on from her immediately. I always had a rule. Any woman who thinks I should compete with other men for her love isn't worth it. From my point of view, the man who stays in that situation is the one who truly loses.
To the girl that said that when you're dating, you have to treat it like you have $10,000 to give away instead of looking for $10,000, you're a genius. Love you. You're amazing. Best advice I've ever heard. So tonight I went out just to grab a little drinky drink before I went and did my grocery shopping and prep for the week. And I was surveying the land as one does. And I was like, who do I want to give $10,000 to? And it's something specific about that amount too, because as I was looking, I mean, the answer was nobody. Everybody there was like a Gen Z, and I like my men grown, right? But I was thinking and looking around, I was like, no, wouldn't give him $10,000. Wouldn't give him, I might give him like 5,000, but the full 10, no. Like, it's a game changer. So shout out to you, girl, because it really makes you think, like, do I really want this? Do I really want to go through the process of either getting or receiving this person's attention? Or is it just that, like, I'm bored and I'm just giving my number out, which I don't, right? And I don't think most women do. I don't think we just give out our number just to give it out. But my point is, there are some people that I may have given my number to that, like, I wouldn't have given them the full 10K. They were just a 5K-er, right? So I really love that idea. Shout out to her. If I find her again, I'll tag her. So again, the principle is when you are out somewhere, you are looking for someone to give $10,000 to. You're not looking for someone to give you $10,000, because that mindset of giving you $10,000 puts you in a place of like, oh, I need this thing, right? I need it. It puts you in a mode of like desperation, which I don't think I ever was, but like that gear shift of like, oh, I have money, I have something valuable to give. Who do I want to give this to? Who's going to steward this well? I just love the mindset that it put me in. So y'all use it. Shout out to her and let me know how it goes.
Stop it. Get some help.
Interesting analogy, thinking of people as if they were imaginary monetary value. It's almost the same as when a wealthy man walks into a fancy restaurant and sees a bunch of women dressed extravagantly. That man might think, this one's going to cost me 10 grand. Or maybe we negotiate for less. At least that's how I see it. Since it's all part of the analogy of not acting out of neediness, right? Honestly, these women just keep trying to come up with excuses to cover up their singleness.
The main reason why I don't ask guys to do anything for me is because I want to see what he's willing to do on his own. If that man wants you, he's going to make some shit pop on his own. Like, he's literally going to make some shit pop on his own. He doesn't need to be coached, okay? Contrary to popular belief, he doesn't need to be coached. Because if he wants you, he's going to work for it. He's going to want to impress you naturally if he actually wants you. And that's what you need to understand. So you, instead of asking him to do all the things, just sit back, baby. What is he doing? If he ain't doing shit, then what the fuck are you hanging around for? He's not just going to magically wake up one day, take a pill, and then suddenly want to buy you flowers, take you shopping, take you on a trip. No. What he's showing you is what he's willing to give you.
She's partly right when she says that a man who's genuinely interested and has good intentions will try to court and win over the woman. But the problem starts when some women today confuse courting with international trips, insanely expensive flower arrangements, luxury restaurants just for Instagram photos, and demanding the infamous 666. 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, and 6-pack abs. In other words, the 666 from hell. Let's be real. That's a small minority of men who can actually afford all that. So it's no surprise they also have better options to choose from. If that level of effort is what's considered doing it for you because he cares, then they're aiming for a very narrow pool of candidates with a whole lot of competition.
Women.
Your future husband is not the guy who. Your future husband is not the guy who makes you feel like you have to compete for his attention. Your future husband is not the guy who takes you for granted and assumes you'll always be there without effort. Your future husband is not the guy who leaves you second guessing his feelings for you. Your future husband is not the guy who makes promises he doesn't keep. Your future husband is not the guy who disappears when you need him most. Your future husband is not the guy who makes you feel insecure and compare yourself to others. Your future husband is not the guy who avoids responsibility or makes excuses for his actions. Your future husband is not the guy who's trying to change you into someone that you're not. Your future husband is not the guy who competes with you or feels threatened by your success. Your future husband is not the guy who keeps you out of his future plans. Your future husband is not the guy who avoids difficult conversations or sweeps issues under the rug to keep the peace. Your future husband is not the guy who surrounds himself with distractions or keeps his options open. Your future husband is not the guy who's afraid of commitment or sees love as a burden. Your future husband is not the guy who holds grudges and punishes you for being vulnerable. Your future husband is not the guy who expects you to dim your light in order for him to shine. Lastly, your future husband is not the guy who makes you feel hard to love.
Brothers, do you know why narcissists are so successful with women? Because they don't lack character. If you try to become that kind of man, the one who bends over backwards, she'll most likely leave you for someone even more selfish and self-centered. Why? Because, according to her future husband shouldn't have a personality of his own. He's supposed to lick the ground she walks on. And you know who those men are? Simps. Men who are always crawling around, handing out their attention like it's free candy. A man who respects himself knows he has to put himself first. He cares for his lady, loves her, but she's a complement to his life purpose, not his whole life. If a woman tells me that a man must be completely selfless to be the perfect husband, then she's with the type of guy who rarely achieves anything in life. Because to reach the top, a man must have character.
I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I've been single for a really long time, and I always have guys asking me like, oh, how's a girl like you single? Like insinuating like I shouldn't be. And I'll tell you why I'm still single. Because my standards are, at this point, they're through the roof. Like, good luck meeting them. I mean, I require reciprocated energy, good communication, meaningful conversation that's not just how was your day, respect of my time, actually treating me like you value me as a person and that you can actually bring something positive into my life. It's really a lot. Like, it's rough out here. I need to lower my standards.
These are the wall's favorites, brother. They spin this fairy tale about sky-high standards, but offer nothing in return except their lovely presence and endless demands. She even says it herself, good luck meeting them. And why don't men go out of their way to meet them anymore? Because genuine interest isn't negotiable. You're not going to fight for the love of someone who won't even lift a finger for you. And the worst part? Even if you bust your ass trying to meet all her expectations, she'll still leave you for the guy who doesn't even do half as much, but gives her butterflies. That's when you realize it's not about effort, it's about attraction. That's why, by their 30s, a lot of them end up alone, crashing hard into the wall. Because the wall doesn't forgive, especially when you think being difficult is some kind of virtue.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're going in a relationship with a man or talking or whatever, lie about everything. Lie. 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 Make yourself seem fucking perfect, bitch, because that's exactly what they do. All those 4 tattoos of your ex's names on you? No. They're dead relatives, okay? Don't tell him shit. Don't tell him who you used to be in love with. Don't tell him all your deep, dark secrets. Don't tell him how your ex hurt you, because he'll use that on you, bitch. Don't tell him anything. Be the perfect fucking bitch. Because you are the perfect bitch. They don't need to know your past. They don't need to know fucking anything. Okay? Nothing. None of that fucking matters. Be Just fucking lie. They're lying to you, bitch. And then you a couple months later find some shit out and you're like, what the fuck? Why are you lying to me about this? I never fucking knew. I never knew you were a fucking weirdo. Okay, yeah, because they lied to you. You gotta do the same thing, bitch. Do the same fucking thing. Don't be open and honest with these men. Don't. No.
Oh, hell no!
This is exactly the kind of woman every man should avoid. Here you've got one giving advice to lie from the very beginning. Hide your past, make up stories, pretend to be perfect through pure fakery. And she justifies it all by saying men do it first. So basically, she calls you a liar while teaching others to be just as bad or worse. And this is the one who wants to be treated like a queen? Yes, men lie sometimes, but why? Because a lot of women like this one don't want the truth. They only want to hear what makes them feel special. They don't care who you are, what your hobbies are, or what your story is. Brothers, always find out the past of the woman you're getting involved with. Because if you don't, you might end up stuck with someone who brings nothing but drama, lies, and chaos into your life.
Controversial, but I think I would rather have my boyfriend cheat on me than end on good terms with him. Hold on. If he cheats on me, not only did I get saved from like a really bad future relationship because he's a cheater, but I'll also be super angry. Like, I'll make his life miserable for a little bit, you know? I'll obviously be sad too, but I'll be more angry than sad, I think. If we end on good terms, where it's just like we just parted ways, like maybe different interests, I don't know, like just on good terms, I will be so sad because I'll be like, I still love him so much. Like, I want to be back with him. Like, imagine everything's going perfect, but you just like, you know, you can't make it work. That's just like not fair. Like, I want to go back to him because there was nothing wrong.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Then they're the ones asking us to connect with our feelings, to be emotionally mature. But listen closely to what this woman says. She'd rather a man cheat on her so she can hate him than end things on good terms. Do you realize the level of emotional immaturity we're dealing with here? The idea that she wants to be cheated on just to make her life miserable is a lie. What she really craves is the emotional roller coaster that a Chad gives her, while a guy who leaves in a mature, respectful way doesn't stand a chance. Chad gives her anxiety, uncertainty, and emotional distress. And like we all know, those are some of the strongest weapons a man can have. That's what fuels her competitive hatred. I can guarantee you, a lot of women get hooked on guys like that for that very reason, because they need the drama.
Things a high-value woman will never do in a relationship. She will never have desperate, needy energy or beg anybody to be with her. She will not try to control or change him either. She values him as his own man, his own entity, as she values herself and her own autonomy. If a man doesn't meet her standards, if he doesn't treat her the way she deserves to be treated, she can cut ties effortlessly with him because she has that stability, that pillar of strength, that secure attachment to herself to allow people to flow out of her life that are not meant for her. If she's in a relationship with a man or she's starting to date a man and he doesn't treat her right, he doesn't respond to her, he ignores her, he doesn't text back, or he ghosts her, she's not going to chase after him. She's not going to try to convince anybody of her value. If she doesn't like his behavior, she won't accept it. She withdraws her energy from it. This is how a woman of high value lives her life. You come into her life, you treat her good, she pours back into you. If you don't treat her good, she cuts you loose from her life, she withdraws her energy from you. She has that standard, and you meet it or you don't, and she's not affected by it either way. Even if she likes you, she's not going to compromise her dignity, her self-worth, just to allow you to treat her poorly or lower her standards for you. Meet her standards, love her, she'll love you back, she'll pour back into you. You don't, goodbye. Her self-worth is of top priority. And this makes her really magnetic to men. Men like a challenge. They like a confident woman. They like a chase. They like a woman who won't put up with their crap because it gives them something to work hard for. And since she has such high value for herself, he will have the same high value for her. He sees her the way she sees herself.
The message isn't all wrong. The problem lies in the focus. A man isn't looking for a woman to match his energy or treat him like a personal project. A man is looking for acts of service, femininity, and genuine kindness. If he feels treated like a king, that man will give 100% without even being asked. But no, today's message is, I don't chase, I don't insist, I walk away with my dignity. Perfect. Stay alone with your dignity while he goes with someone who actually knows how to show real interest. The issue with the modern woman is that they all want the top-tier guy, the top 20%, but they're all offering the same thing: presence, high standards, and the promise that if he delivers, then she'll return the energy. In a market where everyone's selling the same product, the one who holds real value is the buyer, the man, because he's the one bringing what sustains a relationship: protection, stability, and purpose. So my king, if a woman wants to be a queen, she's got to earn the king's favor first. Light rain, light rain.
Women.
5 easy ways to tell if your man is a provider. Number 1, he's generous naturally. When you go out to dinner with him, he tips very well. That's a key pointer. Every time that you're with him, you always feel comfortable that you don't have to pay for anything. He's kind and makes bold moves without you having to ask. Number 2, he's super serious about his career and his career growth. This is extremely important. He's not staying at home all day, watching YouTube videos, on Instagram, liking other girls' pictures. No, he's actually working and focused on his growth. He doesn't care what you do for work because he's the breadwinner. He's going to be the one taking care of you. Number 3. Now this one is important as well. All of them are important, but I narrowed them all down, okay? He does not ghost you when a problem arises in your guys' relationship while you guys are talking. No, he actually tries to problem solve and help you figure it out. Your tire's flat. Oh, well, can I help you change it? Are you okay? Do you need a ride? He's always going to make sure that you feel protected and safe. And that brings me to number 4. Of course, you feel safe and protected with him. Like, no matter what happens, you don't have a care in the world when you're with him. You know that if something goes down or something happens to you, he's going to be there for you. He's going to protect you. Number 5, he has intentions and takes initiative when dating you. He plans things out. It's not just, hey, where you at? Can I pull up? No, it's, babe, cancel your plans. We have dinner reservations at Mastro's at 6 p.m. And you better be on time, okay? Bye.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
A man with masculine energy will do many of the things this woman talks about, but he's not the kind of man who'll kiss the ground she walks on. And for a lot of women like her, the definition of the perfect man sounds more like the definition of a second father. Everything revolves around what he does for her. He's supposed to pay for everything, be generous, have a stable career, protect her, solve her problems. Now you tell me, where's the part about what she does for him? Where are the 5 key points to know if she's a loyal partner, someone who supports and brings value? Exactly, they don't exist, because in this model, the man gives and the woman receives. Period.
One time a man told me that he was going to treat me so well that I would never accept anything less from anybody else, and that I would never forget him, that I would think about him every single day for the rest of my life. How fucked up is that? He was easily the best dater that I've ever gone on dates with. Every single one of our dates involved live music because I told him once how much I love live music. So the very first date we went on, we went to this little Italian place. It was so cute, so good. And he had bought tickets for a concert that night for someone I'd never seen, but he wanted to make sure I had live music. Every time I showed up at this man's house, he had a record player playing. And it was like old bluesy, folky, like red dirt country music. And we'd be dancing in his living room to this record player. And in the mornings when I would wake up, he would ask me if I want coffee and go get coffee for me and bring it back to me in bed. And we went to like this fall fun fest kind of thing. And again, live music. And he was just dancing. Like we were just dancing. Like nobody else was there. And that same night, we leave the fall fun fest and we drive, like he takes a detour home. And he stops by this lake, this little cove in a lake. And he says, Cassia, go down to the shore, take off your shoes. Do that. He opens all the doors of his truck, starts blasting music, and comes and joins me. And we just dance in the moonlight for like 30 freaking minutes. Who does these kinds of things?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
This story sounds like I'm dreaming up a Disney movie or watching a Mexican soap opera. Dancing under the moon by the shore of a lake. Music playing from a truck with the doors open? Brother, Nowadays, that sounds more like a fast way to get your truck stolen, not romance. It's a nice idea in your head, but out on the streets, it doesn't work like that. Not in 2024. And here's the funniest part. When a woman describes her ideal man, or what she wants him to do for her, it sounds like a fairy tale. Everything perfect, detailed, emotional. But in real life, they end up with the guy who doesn't do any of that. That's why the advice women give men about how to win them over never works. Because they say they want one thing, but they're attracted to something completely different. And the more you try to figure them out, the less you actually understand them.
I think this might ruffle a lot of feathers, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The fact that some of you got to live in a fantasy that motherhood is amazing all the time and that there aren't moments of misery in motherhood and now you're coming to the realization is a luxury and privilege that not everyone had. You know who didn't have it? Children of immigrants, minorities, immigrants themselves, because we had to watch our mother sacrifice everything while doing so in a country that did not support us, that did not provide resources, that did not provide community. There's no way I got to live in a fantasy that motherhood is amazing all the time when I had to watch my mother get bullied at work 2 jobs, come home, take care of us, all while not being able to go back home to her home country to see her family. So no, I'm not confused about women who think that motherhood has moments of misery, and I'm not confused that motherhood is hard. How could I?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
This speech has that classic tone of, if I suffered, you can't be happy. And that's where the problem lies. Yes, it's true that many women, especially daughters of immigrants, grew up watching their mothers bust their backs working 2 jobs, facing harassment, with no support. No one denies that reality. But using that suffering as a justification to invalidate the experiences of other women who did experience motherhood with more stability isn't justice. It's resentment in disguise. In this country, many women do have stable homes and destroy them because they get bored or because Instagram sold them an empty dream of self-love based on likes and external validation. Others choose the wrong man to be the father of their children, and that's a life-changing decision. But then, is it the fault of the woman who chose well and is now happy? No. Like I said, if you spend your life carrying other people's trauma, you end up living a pain that was never yours to begin with. And that's not empathy, that's self-sabotage.
Women.
I'm a single mom to a 2-year-old, and let me tell you where I've gone wrong in every dating situation I've been in since becoming a mother. So I've been in 1.5 relationships since having my son. We're not gonna talk about the half. We're just gonna focus on the one. Number 1 mistake, no dating process. I feel like I want a family and I want a unit and I wanna be loved so bad. I ignore the dating process. When in reality, this is something that is so necessary. And upon reflection, I need it. I need a dating process. You need to be courted by a man. If you want a high value man, if you want a man to match your energy as a confident, successful woman, they need to court you. In my last relationship that I just recently got out of, we met and then we're inseparable, like basically living together. There was no dating process. There was no asking on a date. There was no grand gestures to show any type of courtship. And I feel like that's where the relationship went wrong, because to me, as a woman with a child, we're playing house at that point. So my emotions get 10 times more involved instead of truly slowing down and getting to know a person and getting to know what their intentions are, what their life is actually like, what their traumas are, what their triggers are, and really seeing if that person is going to be for me. I feel like no dating process just leads to failure. And a lot of the times, I think as single mothers especially, we can want to rush into situations because of everything we have going on. And we already are one step closer to a family because we do have a child. So it makes it difficult. For myself, I have to slow down. I have to go through that dating process to truly get to know somebody. This could be months long. And I've traditionally never been that type of person. So that's something I'm going to be implementing because I am super open to date and super open to meeting somebody who is going to be for me. I've done so much reflection over the past couple years. So let me know if you want me to make another part to this of things that I've discovered dating as a single mom.
Stop it. Get some help.
I'm not criticizing anyone for wanting a relationship, but here's what doesn't add up. She herself admits that she was with guys who didn't even put in the bare minimum effort. The father of her child, her last 1.5 relationships, they all got into her life easily. And now, after that track record, she expects the next man to come along with flowers, patience, and high-value man standards to court her. How does that make any sense? When you didn't have kids, you could afford certain luxuries, but now you have a real burden that comes with extra responsibilities. It's not about judging you. It's just reality. The man who approaches you has to take on a stepfather role, and trust me, nobody's lining up for that. That's why I'm telling you, lower your expectations a bit and adjust your approach to your real market, single fathers who aren't interested in playing games with immature women.
I'm a single mom. Of course no man is ever going to want me because I have too much baggage. I'm a single mom. Of course I'm the lowest fruit on the tree. I'm a single mom. Of course I need to be staying at home the nights that my children are with their father instead of going out socializing with friends. I'm a single mom. Of course I need to step up and finally be a parent for once. I'm a single mom. Of course I shouldn't have standards for me and my children because beggars can't be choosers. I'm a single mom. Of course I should stay with my children's father because settling for the bare minimum and letting my children grow up in a broken home is so much better than growing up in 2 homes where the parents are both happy and healthy.
Hey, bro. What? Oh, my God!
Well, congratulations if you understand it, and still choose to do the complete opposite. This woman acknowledges that being a single mother comes with consequences. She talks about having too much baggage, about being the lowest hanging fruit, but instead of owning it and acting with maturity, she jumps into a victim narrative. She gets it, but she doesn't accept it. She wants to keep living as if nothing had changed. Lady, repeating it like a mantra doesn't change reality. If you know your situation isn't the same anymore, act accordingly. You can't demand to be treated like you're free of responsibilities when you're carrying an entire life on your back. And no, it's not that beggars can't be choosers. It's that in the real market, everyone's value is based on what they bring to the table, not on what they demand. Repeat that a few more times and maybe, just maybe, it'll finally sink in.
3 things I wish I knew before I had a kid. You can be married and still give your child a terrible example of what love is supposed to look like. I've had people judge me for not being married and say to me, being married shows your child a good foundation and shows them what love is supposed to look like. Me loving myself is the example that I'm trying to show my child. I'm not saying there's anything against marriage. I'm just saying that if you think the entire foundation of your child's self-esteem is built on you possibly settling for a marriage or thinking that's all you need to show them what love looks like, you might have to reevaluate why you're married in the first place. Number 2, if your child's father is not around, that is not your fault. But what is your fault is if you feel like every guy you date needs to be your child's new father. Please leave that baby out of it. He does not need to call every guy daddy. But number 3, you don't have to settle just because you're a single parent and think that your child just needs to see you with someone. Your child seeing you love yourself is more than enough.
Here we have an empowered single mother saying she doesn't need a man, that self-love is enough. Brother, when a woman says that if the father isn't present, it's not her fault, but at the same time, she was the one who chose that man to be the father of her child, you know you're dealing with someone who refuses to take responsibility. It's not just about self-love or about raising a child by seeing their mother happy. It's about the most important decision of her life, and they failed to choose wisely. It's not like a lightning bolt got them pregnant. And the worst part is how they generalize. Now, according to their logic, every marriage is a bad example, always going to extremes to justify their situation. They conveniently ignore the fact that studies show kids raised by both a father and a mother present have far greater chances of success in life. But of course, modern feminism doesn't tell them that, because responsibility is kryptonite for women.
Women.
One thing that will never cease to amaze me is the sentiment that men have towards women on the internet. If you just go read through my comments, like, there will be women agreeing with the things that I'm saying and being like, yeah, me too, I've experienced that. And there will be men in the comment section arguing with women. And it's funny because if they would just remain silent, there would be no evidence to support the facts that I'm talking about, but the fact that they have to say something. They have to disagree with women. They have to make us feel like we are stupid and wrong. And that is how it has been for women for generations. And look, it's not all men. It is not. I have amazing men in my life who value the opinions of women, who listen to women, who respect women. But there are still the group of men who often find themselves in my comment section who do not have any respect for women, no regard for our experience, and don't care to change because ultimately they are predators. And it's always behind some fake account with no profile picture because likely that's some of your boyfriends and husbands.
Hey, bro. What? Oh my God!
So, if someone calls you out on your nonsense, that automatically makes him a predator? Maybe if you spoke with logic, most men would actually go along with you. But apparently, for a man to be considered good, he has to align with whatever a woman thinks. Pretty convenient, right? The ironic part is that this type of woman usually chases after men who won't let themselves be manipulated, not the simps who tolerate everything. Remember, women are heavily driven by their emotions. If you base your life decisions on whoever controls you emotionally, you're going to hit a lot of bumps along the way.
You know, it's never actually the hot guys that you need to watch out for. It's always the guys who are 6s and 7s who are gonna hurt you the most. In your head, you're like, I've discovered this one. Like, this is a diamond in the rough. Like, nobody else is seeing what I'm seeing. You're like, I'm making a brave investment here. Like, this guy's never gonna hurt me because, you know, I plucked him out. And then they hurt you more than anybody else. It's these 6s and 7s, okay? Their egos get way too big when a baddie scoops them up. And suddenly they go on a little rampage tour. Suddenly they're like, oh, I can love bomb. I can gaslight. I can be the worst. And you're experiencing it like, I made you. Like, you've made them into a monster by discovering them. And suddenly they're twisting on you. It's Frankenstein energy. The creation overtakes the master and then the whole town dies. I don't know how that book goes.
Well, all of that could easily be avoided if they just let go of the lifeguard complex. A lot of them see men as projects, something they need to fix or improve. The problem is, once the guy realizes he can take advantage of the situation, he does it without hesitation. Meanwhile, the good guy, the one who shows up with clear intentions, gets sent straight to the friend zone for being boring. She even admits it herself. She likes making bold investments in broken men. Then they don't understand why things always end badly or why they keep repeating the same pattern. Brother, if you ignore all the red flags and get involved with a man who practically comes with a warning label, don't blame all men. Blame your terrible taste.
Women.
This is a PSA for all my girlies. The only thing you have to know is that if a man treats women like shit or like hates women or like constantly cheats, like I'm talking like every single girlfriend he's ever had or like constantly has like a fucking roster that he just goes through, there's either two reasons for this. Number one, he's a really bad mother wound, deep core mother wound. He hates women because he hates his mom, okay? Even if he doesn't think he hates his mom, his inner child hates his mom, you know what I mean? Like, he's just a real bad relationship and he just has decided to take that out on every single woman that exists. The other option, this one I have found way more true, is that he's gay as fuck. He's so gay, like super fucking gay. And there's nothing wrong with being gay to other people, but to them, the internalized homophobia, the internalized misogyny, it's all of that into one small-minded meat suit, you know? Because listen, if you act like you hate women, it's because you do. And a man who loves women, truly loves women, doesn't treat them like they hate them, you know? And all I have to say to that is, baby boy, just be gay. Just be happy, my love. There's lots of space for abundance here. I don't really get it. But anyways, for the women, yeah. I have literally told many of my female friends that these mans that have been treating them disrespectfully. Some of them hella gay, and I've been right every time. Don't ask me how we found out, but we found out. And you know what? It's easier to get over a man when you know he's gay. It's not funny. I hope y'all find peace.
Stop it. Get some help.
If that's what you need to tell yourself to cope with being left, then go ahead. Everyone finds comfort in their own way. But don't forget, there are men out there who have options, attractive women chasing after them. And when a man has that kind of access, it's rare for him to want to stick with just one. If they open the doors to the entire ice cream shop for you, it's hard to say, I only want vanilla. Now, if the guy mistreats you and you still stay, where's your self-respect? Because I don't stick around where I'm treated badly. But if you choose to stay, then it's no longer his fault. It's your lack of dignity. Not everything is trauma or manipulation. Sometimes, it's just the refusal to let go of something that's clearly not working.
What is the most unintentionally offensive thing your boyfriend has ever said to you? I'll go first. I noticed that my favorite influencer slash model followed my ex-boyfriend on Instagram and that he followed her back. And he's so offline. I knew that he didn't know who she was from the internet. So I was like, oh my gosh, do you know this girl? I'm a huge fan of hers. And he was like, yeah, I used to actually hook up with her back in college. But I didn't like her, so we, kind of fizzled out. So I was like, what was the problem? She is so funny and she's gorgeous. And then he was like, I actually am not really into girls who look like models. She was so pretty and I'm just more into the down-to-earth look.
Brothers, remember this. Even the most beautiful woman in the world will eventually come across a man who doesn't see her as an option. And that's okay. The guy dated a woman who was a 10 out of 10, a model, an influencer, and she just wasn't what he was looking for. Now he prefers something more real, more emotional, more about connection than appearance. And that's a crime? But no, what she wanted was for him to say she's more beautiful than the model he follows. Why? Because that feeds the ego. But come on, if you follow the model, there's a reason, right? It's those little things, those insecurities disguised as offensive comments, that drive men crazy. Common sense, as always, just walked out of the room.
The love of your life is not making you question if you're going crazy, making you cry yourself to sleep every night, threatening to break up with you every day, and holding past fights above your head. The love of your life is not a liar. They would not lie to you. They would not think your feelings are a joke. The person who says you're being too loud and is trying to dull your personality, putting themselves in the position to lose you, getting mad at you when you hang out with your friends, making you question if you're good enough or if you're actually beautiful, isolating you from all of your friends and family. I know that you know what you deserve.
It's funny because it's true.
Exactly. You know what you deserve. Yet there you are again, falling into the hands of the same old Chad. The guy who brings nothing to the table, but still has you on that emotional roller coaster you secretly enjoy. Because even though you say love shouldn't hurt, you keep chasing that intensity, that drama, that chaos disguised as passion. The good man doesn't make you cry, doesn't dim your personality, doesn't threaten to leave every week. But of course, he also doesn't give you that spark that makes you feel alive like the other one does. So it's not that you don't know your worth. It's that you're more drawn to the thrill of disaster than to real stability. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Have you ever seen a woman date a man as if he were her personal project? Why do you think some women have a lifeguard complex? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.